In today's video, we're going to be running through my team selection ahead of Game Week 3. We're also going to go through all the key data you need to make the best decisions and also talk about captaincy for this game week. Now, before we dive into today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for helping the channel hit 7,500 subscribers. It seems like we're hitting off milestones every single week, and if you do want to become a part of that journey, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button, as we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And like I said, it would be amazing if we could do that. Right, we're going to start off with my team from Game Week 2. Obviously go through the players that did well, the players that didn't do too well, and obviously, as you can see, there is one big omission from this side, and we always knew this game week was going to be a difficult one. It is, of course, Erling Haaland. There's no captaincy there. We did manage to pick up 72 points in the end and did see a rank decrease of around 700,000, but with Haaland getting a hat-trick, I was expecting a lot worse, to be honest. I was expecting to be like 3 million back. We kind of fell to around 1.6, 1.7 million from around 1 million, so not the worst in the world. We had Salah captain. He managed to get a goal and 2 bonus as well. Anthony Gordon helped out, and Son as well with his brace as well. Definitely clawed it back a little bit. And I think there was times before Haaland grabbed his 3rd goal that I was pretty much neck and neck with teams that went with Erling Haaland and still had Mohamed Salah to play for. Now, obviously, you know, this week again is probably more favouring towards the Haaland guys with his fixture, but as we'll come on to see with my transfers, I definitely think I'm in a good place that they won't be able to get to kind of get that little bit of edge back. Now, it is only kind of I would say probably a 15 to 20 point swing already, but it's not the end of the world, to be honest, and there's definitely going to be some difficult weeks coming up for Haaland, and I feel having Mohamed Salah set already in my team with that armband as well is going to be massive, because with the Liverpool fixtures coming up, and especially some of those high predicted points for him, I think he's going to be a great captaincy option for the next few weeks, and I would be looking to get him in ASAP. We've already got him, so I do feel I have that slight advantage over others. Right, that was my team for Game Week 2 and the points it did. Let's go and look at some key data for Game Week 3. Starting off, of course, we are going to use Rob T FPL's kind of, I'd say picture, if you like. We always obviously nab this from his Twitter, so go and give him a massive follow. Tell him you came from my YouTube channel as well. Of course, this data is from SpreadX. It is the betting data over the markets for projected goals and clean sheets. And as you can see, there are definitely some teams I think we should be looking to target this week. Arsenal being one of those with the highest probability of a clean sheet. We've already seen them keep 2 clean sheets so far. It wasn't the most convincing clean sheet against Aston Villa, but that defence is still looking very, very solid, and their defensive assets are looking very, very appealing. Now, they do have 2 difficult fixtures after this one, but I even think still the numbers that Arsenal are putting up and the projected clean sheet data, as we'll come on to see, definitely worth some consideration going for those Arsenal defenders. Arsenal attackers as well, the likes of Saka and Havertz might be worth potentially giving the armband to if you've not got Erling Haaland in this match day. Looking at other fixtures as well, obviously Aston Villa, pretty decent clean sheet and projected goal odds with them away at Leicester. City, obviously, again, one of the top standout teams. You would imagine Erling Haaland going to be quite high on that captaincy kind of matrix for this week as well. In terms of Newcastle and Tottenham, there isn't absolutely anything to split them. The bookies are unsure which way this is going to go. And if you look at recent results that have happened at St James's Park, it's been a little bit of a stomping ground for Newcastle. They've been absolutely dicking down Spurs at home as well. So again, we could see that. So maybe if you've got the likes of Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak, might be worth just considering giving them one more week with strong projected goals kind of coming up for this game as well. Maybe from the defensive side, probably not worth playing any of your defenders in that fixture, but attacking wise, definitely worth a little bit of consideration. Brentford, obviously the likes of Mbuemo, Visser, they've been recommended by my FPL experts. If you haven't watched that video, go and check it out, and for very, very good reason. You know, they've looked pretty good, and I definitely think this fixture against Southampton is one that, you know, they will need to win if they want to obviously, you know, mount the points that they need to stay up again this season. Chelsea, off after the back of their romping as well, people like Cole Palmer, Madueke could be decent shouts as well. Pretty good projected data and clean sheet data as well. And then Liverpool as well. So if you have got Mohamed Salah, the likes of Diego Jota and Trent Alexander-Arnold all still look very, very solid picks according to the betting data as well. Moving on to 11 11FI's data, I will leave a link to their website if you want to go and check it out for yourself. This is projected goals over the next 5 to 6 match days. It's 6 match days. And as you can see, Liverpool are top. So like I spoke about when we were looking at my team, the appeal of having Mohamed Salah, especially for some of those delicious fixtures, I'm mainly eyeing up that match day 5 fixture where obviously Haaland will be facing off against Arsenal. So for me, that is going to be the big swing there. Also, match day 8 is a pretty, sexual one, to be honest, for Liverpool as well, with decent projected goals across that. It's not to say Erling Haaland won't do well, though, because the projected goals for Manchester City are still very, very strong, despite a few iffy fixtures in there. Arsenal's obviously pick up around match day 6 after the Manchester City game, so I probably would say you could leave Saka and Havertz maybe for, post game week 6 when they go on that amazing run where they face 2 newly promoted sides back to back. And as you can see, have really, really good projected data across that run. Aston Villa make it into 4th. They've got arguably one of the best fixture runs in the Premier League coming up. The likes of Leon Bailey, Rodgers, Ollie Watkins, definitely going to be on people's shopping lists for this reason. And I think the data definitely supports that as well. Chelsea, with the likes of Cole Palmer, Madueke, Nicholas Jackson, João Felix, they've got a plethora of options. But again, from an attacking standpoint, definitely looks like a team worth considering. Looking at some other teams as well that potentially could be standouts, I'm looking at the game week 4 and game week 5 for Brighton as well. Obviously, that's where you'd want to own Minter and João Pedro. Playing, Ipswich in game week 4 as well as a great fixture. And as you can see, really, really good projected data around that one. Very similar with what I was saying around Brian and Mbeumo and Vissa as well. Match day 3 is a strong one, but then you're probably not really going to want to own them till match day 6 and beyond. And if I was looking for Mbeumo, for me personally, I would wait up until that point to go and get him in before obviously kind of knee-jerking and making that move, to be honest. If we're looking at teams you probably want to be avoiding, again, Wolves still not really kind of fancied for any sort of projected goals over the next few weeks. Nottingham Forest fixtures are definitely tailing away, so the likes of Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi are probably going to be on the sell list, as you can imagine. Right, let's move on to clean sheet data coming up for the next few weeks. I've accidentally put in the wrong photo, so give me a second and I'll put the correct one in. And just like that, we are back with the clean sheet data. Apologies about that one. As you can see, Arsenal the best team for projected clean sheets over the next few weeks. Obviously this week as well being quite strong on those favoured odds from Rob T FPL. 11FI has it slightly higher as well for a clean sheet this week. Match day 4 and match day 5 are a little bit more difficult, but as we spoke about with their amazing fixtures coming up in 6, 7 and 8, again, definitely would be worth considering across the board. Liverpool have a pretty decent set after Manchester United, so the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson definitely would be on my shopping list and are on my shopping list. Aston Villa as well, Ezri Konsa, a great pickup with some strong projected clean sheets across that board. And maybe worth taking a look at some of the Chelsea defenders as well. A strong fixture run, decent clean sheet data as well to go with that, so maybe worth a little bit of consideration going forward. In terms of teams I would maybe be looking to sell off, maybe the likes of Pedro Porro, not really going to be worth it for clean sheets over the next few weeks. If he can maintain attacking returns, great, but with 12 and 16% in the next 2 weeks, not really great, and 15 and 18% in match day 6 and match day 7. I think there are better teams with better players I would be targeting. If I could find that extra 0.5 million on my side, I would be moving to the likes of Robertson or maybe even a Manchester City defender at that 5.5, or if I didn't have any Arsenal defenders, would be obviously looking to go and get one of those rather than Pedro Porro over the next few weeks as well. Manchester United as well, still for me quite an easy avoid defensively. I think that defensive display against Brighton still showed that they're, lacking the capabilities to keep clean sheets and obviously keep away from, conceding big opportunities. So again, if you are looking at United defenders, for me, I probably would say I would still avoid them, to be honest. Right, let's move on to captaincy for this game week. And again, as you can see, there is one man right at the top for an anytime return. It is, of course, Erling Haaland. This is all coming from Fantasy Football Hub. Obviously, if you want to go and check out their amazing website, a link in the description. They're still running their 50% off sale as well, so take full advantage while you still can. So like I said, Erling Haaland leading the way with a 62% probability of scoring any time, the highest percentage chance of a brace as well. So I think if I did have Haaland, I probably would be looking to give him the armband for at least another game week as well. But Mohamed Salah with 59% is the second best option in my opinion. 36%, 23, you know, there's some pretty decent numbers in there as well. He's got a pretty good record against Manchester United at Old Trafford as well, and has looked really, really good. He's actually matching Erling Haaland in terms of points as well over the opening 2 game weeks, and I definitely think they're both giving a decent run for your money and both offer a great captaincy option this week, to be honest. The other two are more interesting options. As we saw with the betting data, Bukayo Saka does become an interesting option. High projected goals for Arsenal this week, the joint highest with 2.45 as well. So maybe Saka is a player that's potentially going under the radar as a captaincy option for this game week. He's not super highly owned either, and if he does pop off against Brighton, it could be a little bit of a cheat code. Now, they are the 6th best team for XG conceded so far this season. They haven't really faced, I would say, any top class opponents. This for me is going to be the real test to see whether or not they are going to be a legitimate top side this season. They faced an Everton side with defensive issues. They faced a Manchester United side that were one of the worst teams for XG conceded last year. Now they're up against one of the best attacks and best defenses in the league. This is going to be their real test, so maybe could be worth considering giving Bukayo Saka that armband if you didn't have Erling Haaland or, of course, Mohamed Salah for this game week. And then the other option that I am looking at and potentially going to be bringing into my side this week, it is Cole Palmer. Like I said, they've got a lovely fixture run. Again, high projected goals for Chelsea. And if we look at Palace's start to the season, they've just not been quite there, have they, defensively? I obviously feel losing Anderson has had a big impact on that one as well. Obviously, I'm a Dean Henderson goalkeeper owner as well, so it's not been the best kind of transition, but I think for now, yeah, I think I probably would be maybe looking to target Crystal Palace for the next few weeks defensively until they get, you know, a structured back line together. I know they are obviously bringing in a new centre-back as well, but until that happens, until he's settled in the Premier League, I definitely think they could be a defence worth targeting as well. Those were my top captain picks for this game week. Let me know what you think of them down in the comment section below, and let's move on to my team selection for match day 3. Wasting no time, let's dive straight into my team selection. Goalkeepers, Dean Henderson. I've kind of spoke about it in the last section there. Crystal Palace, they're not really fancied for a clean sheet this week, so I'm not overly expecting anything. Probably 2 points is the maximum I'm going to get out of this one, but I'm never going to suggest making a goalkeeper transfer unless you know, have a transfer to burn or on a wild card. It just feels a little bit redundant, especially early parts of the game. We want to be attacking these players as much as possible, using our transfers to go and get those big hitters, those players that could make a difference. And goalkeepers, for me, that's just not what they're about. So let's move on into the back line. As we can see, we've still got William Saliba. Like I said, I've been incredibly impressed with Arsenal's defensive displays. Obviously, it was a little bit more kind of, I would say, up in the air whether or not they were going to keep a clean sheet against Aston Villa. But Saliba made some fantastic tackles. And I think if this game, obviously the bonus points metric was the same as last year, he would have very, very easily came away with some bonus points from that game, but didn't. But I'm still pretty happy. He seems to be edging Gabriel in terms of those bonus points metrics as well. So I do think it is just a matter of time before he obviously goes and picks one up. Now, next defender is going to be Pedro Porro. We've obviously had 2 transfers to take in this week, but there have been bigger issues I wanted to address in the side. Pedro Porro, for me, could very easily get an attack in return. Only a 16% chance of a clean sheet according to Rob T FPL's data. So again, I'm not really expecting anything out of this one, but I feel with this game, both teams having pretty good projected goals, we could see a little bit of a goal fest as we've seen in previous seasons, and maybe Pedro Porro pops up with a goal or an assist because he is so attacking and so creative as well. So again, that one I think for me is going to be a transfer to deal with next week, and we're probably going to be looking at Andy Robertson as well with a little bit of money in the bank already to upgrade that position. Better clean sheet odds as we saw as well with the 11-5 data. Moving on to that Liverpool defence in match day 4. Moving on to our final defender, it is going to be Gvardiol. Now, I've obviously not been impressed with his positioning. He's just not getting the value for 6 million. He's not obviously, you know, in the same position where he's getting, you know, the what's it called, the chances he was last season. So paying 6 million for him for a City side that is still not keeping clean sheets despite dominating XG every single game, having very little XG conceded, is super frustrating, especially again paying that 6 million. But he's not an urgent transfer that I feel we needed to take care of this week. So again, he will remain. They've got pretty decent clean sheet odds, so hopefully this is the week they can lock down one of those clean sheets. The bench defenders, I mean, we're just leaving in Kwanzaa till we wildcard. There's nothing I really want to waste the transfer on, to be honest, to pick up another 4 million defender. So we're leaving him. Harwood Bellis is there if we need him. Very, very simple as that. Right, let's move on into our midfield. We're going to start off with Bukayo Saka. Obviously, we mentioned him in the last section in terms of, anytime goal scoring odds from Fantasy Football Hub, and he did look a very, very decent option. And also, if we look to the data from Rob T FPL, Arsenal are one of the top teams for projected goals this week. And I am tempted by Bukayo Saka. I think it is just that recent form that, Brighton have obviously won their opening too, but like I said, they haven't really paid anyone I would consider a top class opponent. Arsenal at home as well, they are very, very good, very, very formidable, and I could see this being a 3 or 4-0 win for the Gunners, and I am tempted to give him that armband. Moving on to Mohamed Salah. Again, we obviously spoke about him in the last section in terms of captaincy. Very, very happy to have him in. But obviously, again, I've not gone for him with the armband. We'll talk about that in a quick second. The first transfer that I did make was, of course, taking out Nkunku before his price drop. Bringing in Morgan Rogers before his price increase. I thought he looked amazing against Arsenal. Aston Villa have this long, stupendous fixture run that I definitely think for 5 million he is going to be justifiable. If I had to pick right now between Bailey and Rodgers, I think I would just take that 1.5 million saving. I believe Rodgers over the next few weeks will outscore him, but it's going to be tight. But I think for that 1.5 million savings, I don't think there's going to be too much discrepancies between the pair of them. So I would go for Rodgers if I could. Anthony Gordon's in here. He's going to remain. Basically, again, I am backing Newcastle at home in this fixture. If you look at previous fixtures, it's always been a little bit of a goal fest. Anthony Gordon has got involved with some of those goals as well in terms of creativity. So again, I'm happy to hold him. Obviously scored and picked up a 10-pointer at the weekend as well. So that will go in his favour very, very nicely. Next up is going to be Cole Palmer. Now, this is the big beauty of what I was kind of outlining in pre-season when I was speaking about going for these non-Haaland drafts and kind of rotating around the premium midfielders. We've had Son, we've picked him up, we had him, Everton he wasn't great, Leicester he wasn't great, but Everton he absolutely cooked. Now we can move off when he's got these two difficult games back to back and move to somebody like Cole Palmer, who's got this long stretch of fixtures that are absolutely amazing. Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest, a great run. And this week, I am currently tempted to give him the armband, to be honest. I think realistically, if we saw with those anytime goal scoring odds, he's got pretty decent ones. And if we look at Fantasy Football Hub's projected points, he's actually outscoring Mohamed Salah by 0.1. Now, come deadline, I could very well change this and maybe get a little bit of cold feet on Cole Palmer. But at the moment, we are going to stick with him and we are going to have him as the captain. He is replacing Son, and like I said, he absolutely exploded against Wolves, and I think it could happen again during this long fixture run. And that is, like I said, the beauty of having these rotating midfield options every single week. I can just pick the best ones and kind of just play around with them and hope that they'd manage to outscore Erling Haaland every single week. Now, that is a big ask, and last week was the major week where Erling Haaland was, of course, the top pick for captaincy. And if you went for it, fair play. Like I was recommending people to go for the triple captain in my deadline streams, and if it did work for you, fair play, well done. Right, let's finish up. Let's talk through our three strikers. We're giving Isak another roll of the dice. Now, some people are kind of flogging him, and he's kind of being sold in mass sales, to be honest. Again, though, if you look at his past two home fixtures against Spurs, he's managed to pick up a brace in both of them. Like I said, Newcastle have got this great run. I'm backing him. I feel very confident about his abilities as well this week, so I'm going to go for him in terms of a goal. Muniz, I mean, he's having a lot of shots, but he's not really doing too much in terms of FPL. Now, the Fulham fixture run does continue, I'd say, for at least the next two in Ipswich and West Ham. And if things don't continue, we definitely will be having to look at alternative options to maybe shift on and look for alternative players. But for right now, I am going to stick with Muniz. We do have a little bit of money in the bank, and maybe over the next few weeks we could look to replace that with Kai Havertz ahead of Arsenal's amazing fixtures in 6, 7 and 8. But for now, we're going to stick with Muniz and hope that, he starts to put in some of those attacking returns. And then Cannon actually looks like he's going to go out on loan, so his price will be locked at 4.5 million for the remainder of the season. So again, we always knew that was going to happen. The bench is looking a little bit thin for cover, but I don't feel you really need it over these opening couple game weeks. There isn't going to be too much heavy rotation, and I feel all these players that we have selected should be good for decent minutes. If you did enjoy today's video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in Game Week 3.